Welcome to the channel. I'm Tony the Technician. Today we're going to be going back into my third gen Camaro and taking a look at the engine bay. Everything that I've changed, upgraded, replaced, all the changes I've made in the engine bay. I've done two videos prior to this, one specifically for the exterior of the car and one specifically on everything that I've done or changed on the interior of the car. Today we're looking at the engine bay and everything that I've done. And in the next video, we're going to be going over the underbody and suspension of the vehicle and everything that I've changed and installed on that. So if you guys have any questions, I may forget to mention something. Maybe I skip over something in the engine bay that you guys are interested in or want more info on. Please feel free to drop a comment down below. I'll do my best to either find that product for you guys or answer any question you may have about it. I'll also try and have some of the products that I've used linked down in the description, but also keep in mind that some of these pieces are custom, some of them I made myself, some products may not be available anymore. So I'll do my best to get whatever I can for you guys as far as products, but I hope you guys enjoy. If you guys do, please make sure to smash that thumbs up. And if you guys haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for another video going over the underbody and suspension. If you guys haven't checked out the exterior video or the interior video, I suggest you do that. There's a lot of good stuff in there and I really hope you guys enjoy those. But let's go ahead and get into this. So here's my third gen Camaro. It's an 85 Sport Coupe that used to be the 2.8 liter V6. We've already done a video on everything I've done to the exterior as well as everything I've done to the interior of the car. So if you guys haven't checked out those videos, make sure to check those out. But today we're going to be going over the engine bay and everything I changed, upgraded, or modified. So let's go ahead and get into it. I tried to write as much of it down as possible because there is a lot. I'm sure I'm still going to forget something, but it is what it is. Hopefully I'll throw up a picture in here so you guys can see what the engine bay used to look like. It used to be, well, this car was a different color. It was like a burnt orange copper, but it was painted aftermarket paint, and then the engine bay was like this brownish copper. It wasn't the same as the rest of the car, so when I pulled the engine out, I repainted the entire engine bay just flat black, and it's not perfect, but it looks pretty dang good. So I'm going to go ahead and get some extra lighting on, and hopefully that's good enough. So let me go ahead and grab my list. So like I said, this used to be a 2.8 liter V6 with the T5 transmission, and it was pretty gutless, but I drove it for probably a year or two before I pulled the engine, and I just enjoyed the car. I got it for $2,800, and this engine is from my dad's Nova. When he was a kid, he ended up winning a 383 stroker crate engine at a car show on a raffle for $10. And so we pulled the 350 out of his Nova. We sent it off, got it cleaned up, got it bored out, ended up having to bore it out 40 over. And so it's basically a 357. He gave me the heads and the cam from the 383 stroker because he was going to go bigger with those. So he gave me those. We rebuilt the engine and put it into my 87 Camaro, which I got running like 2 days before I left for basic training, and then it sat for basically 10 years in the driveway rotting away. So I pulled the engine out of it when I got this car and rebuilt it again and put it in this car. So that's kind of the backstory of this. This is my dad's old engine, so it's kind of sentimental, and I'm going to run it until it's just not running anymore. And then the plan is to drop a 427 in it with a turbo 400. But for now, I'm going to enjoy it the way it is. I've put a lot of time and money into this car. I just want to enjoy it because it's been about an 8 or 9 year project. So like I said, this is a 350 board 40 over. It's got world product heads. It's got new pistons. Like I said, the heads are off of the 383 stroker, which you can't really see. It does have Scorpion roller rockers in it. I don't have the specs anymore of the cam that's out of the 383 stroker. Then I have the Edelbrock RPM air gap intake. You can see that, and I got it in the powder coated black. I have a 1-inch spacer with the Phytech 600 horsepower power adder edition EFI. Then over here, I can't remember what brand I went with, but this little Bill aluminum throttle bracket cable and kick down bracket. It's pretty nice. It works really well. Then I have braided AN fuel lines with the inline fuel filter over here. That just goes down to the stock feed and return line, hard lines. I do have a fuel pressure gauge here so I can keep an eye on that. Then obviously the big thing that you see is the Spectre intake. This is kind of a custom thing that I did, trying to figure out what I liked first. I started off with just the center section and the filters, then decided I wanted to get it away from the engine heat. And yes, it's not a true cold air intake, but you know, it's not as hot now. I can't say that it breathes any better than just a filter sitting on top, but I wanted to get it away from the engine bay. I wanted to do something different than everybody else. So I ended up buying a bunch of elbows, trying to figure out what worked best. Came up with this after many different iterations of trying to figure out what I liked. Instead of having the filters right here or coming forward or going off to the side, I came up with this and I like it. It's got the forced air from my daytime running lights. It has a vent and a hose that runs through, and it's meant to feed the brakes, but I drilled 3-inch holes in the top of my battery trays, mounted the elbows here, and I actually have a panel from Devious that will sit over this, and it'll basically just force all of that air into the intake, and it does actually sound pretty dang good. So while this is definitely not for everybody, I really like it. It's different. I think it looks good, and that's what I went with. But I will say it was not cheap. It was not cheap. Then I have the Power Master alternator, a little bit of an upgrade over stock. I have 0 gauge cables or 1/0 that go to these heavy duty overkill distribution blocks rated for something like 700 amps or something like that. They're beefy boys. And so my power comes from the battery in the back, goes to my starter, comes off the starter, comes to this distribution block. Then this distribution block feeds my alternator, and then it also feeds another distribution block that sits back here behind this panel, which then feeds another distribution block over there. And this one is specific for my fan relays and any power that was required over here, and then I did a distribution block over there for anything that was necessary. All of my gauges and everything that I ran in the interior is all connected here, just so I didn't have to run wiring from all of those things a long ways. I kind of have a distribution block on each side, so it's easier to access. And then I kind of tucked them up under here. Here's my fuel pump fuse, relocated it from, I think it used to sit up here in the corner. Same thing over here, the elbow that feeds that side of the intake. I did do the evap canister delete, which still uses the pressure relief valve off of it. So when the tank hits so much pressure, or the pressure builds up in the line, it does relieve the pressure off of the tank through this vent. Now it's going to be hard to see, but I do have Dynaforce mini starter down there. You can't see it, but very good starter. It's done a great job. It is wrapped in a heat shield as well, so you can see my spark plug wire, or my spark plug cables, are organized with this organizer, as well as the protective boots there, or covers. But the starter also has a heat shield over it, since the header sits right next to it. I also have a heat shield on the main battery cable that comes up to the distribution block to protect it. And then these are the Dyno Dawn headers. They are 1 3/4 inch primaries. They are shorty headers. And then I have the Dyno Dawn dual Y pipe, basically two straight pipes that go to my exhaust, which dumps right below the passenger side. I'm running the MSD Pro Billet Ready to Run distributor. It is at 24 degrees of timing and initial, and then it's got 10 degrees of mechanical advance. I use a special custom stop bushing in there. MSD doesn't provide one that size or that amount of degree. So I bought a specialty kit that allows, it came with 2 bushings, one for 10 degrees of mechanical advance and one for 14 degrees. And I believe I have the 10 degree one in there. So I wanted to run as much timing as possible without actually having to lock it out. So seems to be working pretty good. There you can see the Blaster SS coil and the Phytech, all of its wiring and hoses ran as neatly as possible with all of the sensors. I have mechanical gauges as well as the digital gauges for the Phytech, so it's kind of a redundant system, so I can see to make sure that things are accurate. Can't remember specifically what brand spark plug organizer this is, but there are many different designs out there. I really like this one. It kind of just matched everything. It does have a high volume, high pressure oil pump. It's got the Moroso oil pan on it, just a stock 5-quart sizing. I tried to run a bigger one and it ended up not working with my oil pump pickup, so I ended up just going with a upgraded OEM size oil pan. And I am running Felpro valve cover gasket. Well, basically all the gaskets are Felpro. I upgraded to the, I guess I don't have them down here. I keep spare parts, since nothing in the engine bay is really stock anymore. I keep a supply of sensors, thermostats, LED flasher module, spark plugs, oil filters, another set of header gaskets. These are pretty cool. The Earls, I guess there's a part number on it. Kind of uses this graphite center section that compresses. Overall, they work really well. Spare belts, spare spark plug wires. I have another set of valve cover gaskets, but I must have placed them somewhere else. But it's the Felpro gasket with the ridges on it, and that really, I used to have an oil leak on the back valve cover over there. Not these valve covers, another set that were fabricated, and they were junk. The welds on it had cracks and bad grinds on it to where it was allowing oil to seep out the back corner. Got the Felpro gaskets and these new valve covers. These are the Proform cast aluminum valve covers. They're 2 to 3 times the price of what I paid for the other ones, but 0 leaks, and they're made really, really well. I really like them. I got them in the black finish. I think you can get them in 3 or 4 different finishes, so really like the way that turned out. Underneath the car, which I doubt we'll be able to see, I do have a sandwich adapter on the bottom here for the oil filter. This allows me to run sensors there, warning lights, all that good stuff. Do have a swivel thermostat housing. Now this one works just fine, but I got one that is angled too far up. I should have got one where it was angled a little bit less, because it does cause this to sit higher than my radiator cap. So it did take a little bit to get the air bled out of that hump, but once I did that, it's been great. And then I created a little bracket here to hold the hose, just to prevent it from hitting the belt, just in case, you know, if the hose got hot and started to sag. I just didn't want it to make contact with the belt. Factory pulley setup, just painted black. When we do the 427, I will do a whole billet pulley system. I do have an AC delete pulley, since the car has no heat, no AC. I also have the AC delete blower box. It still has the squirrel cage in it, but a lot of unused wiring is actually just tucked in here. So when we do the swap, I'll actually just pull this whole blower box out, which is hydro dipped in carbon fiber. Pull that out, get rid of all the wiring, and then I'll just do a whole delete plate there. Now that I know what wiring I needed and what wiring I didn't, I can basically delete everything in there, as well as most of this harness over here. I also have devious products coming, the windshield wiper delete panel. I got the cover for this corner here to hide that relay. I have the covers here that will go over the air filters. I also have the one that will sit on top of the dash. So still some modifications to come, little things here and there. This is, I believe, a DNA 3-row radiator, just one of those eBay specials. I've had it basically since I started this build, and honestly, no problems with it whatsoever. The only problem I had, which wasn't with the radiator itself, was with the fans that they included with it. They just didn't move enough air, so I replaced them with some high-speed, high-flowing Spall fans, and these things move some air. They're much louder than what was on there, but I have a video on that if you guys want to see the difference between the original fans that were mounted on here, and these, huge improvement, much louder, but huge improvement. My car basically sits at 180 all the time now, so they do fantastic. Before, it couldn't stop it from going over 200. It didn't matter what I did. It just, once it got around 180, 190, it just kept going and kept going, and there was no slowing it down after that. I did build a custom bracket here, just a couple pieces of aluminum strapping with a carbon fiber L bracket, just to hold the radiator in place. My overflow does run, and it's just basically a catch can that sits right in here. See, but it's right there. I did use ARP head bolts and things like that, but for exterior stuff like the intake manifold, it does have the Chevy bow tie bolt kit on it. It's hard to see any of them, but there's one right there. They just have the Chevy logo, and that was something I bought when I originally rebuilt the engine back in 2008. These are the Spone, I think that's how you pronounce it, I don't know, the Spone caster camber plates. We'll go over all of my suspension and stuff here in the next video, but I do have the Viking coilovers as well as some other. Basically all of this suspension, everything underneath the car has been touched except for the original K-member. And then I have a built turbo 350 in the car right now. It was originally built for a 383 stroker that was going in a 69 Camaro. The guy decided to do an LS swap, so he sold the engine and trans. I bought the trans for $600. It's rated at 550 horse, and so far it's been doing great. So I will keep that until we switch to the 427, and then we'll probably switch out to a turbo 400. I believe that's it as far as the engine bay. I mean, got rid of the hood, some of the hood latch stuff, kind of tucked as much wiring as possible. You see some on the firewall here, and then the one harness here. But other than that, it's basically just the wiring behind the intake manifold for all of the sensors, and then just have my battery cables there. But overall, I'm extremely happy with it. It's been a long process, but everything seems to be working really well. So if you guys have any questions about any of these products, maybe I forgot a brand name or something like that, if I can remember it or figure it out, I will help you guys out in any way possible. But that is a look at my 3rd gen Camaro Engine Bay. Don't forget to check out the video on the exterior and interior if you guys haven't already, and stay tuned for the suspension and underbody video coming next.